If you're thinking about developing an app, there's something you need to keep in mind. And that's that the backend is the heart and engine of your product. It's the most critical part. And I say this because a lot of my clients only focus on the front end. They focus mainly on the design or the user experience. And that makes sense because everything catches your eye first. But the problem is, that's just the surface layer. Because the most important part of your business happens in the backend. That's where information is stored. Servers are managed, security rules are defined, all the API integration happens, and much more. That's why in the low-code world, there's a backend that's becoming more and more popular. It's called Supabase. And here at NextRocket, we use it a lot, and we think it's awesome. So in this video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of using Supabase, and when you should use it, and when you shouldn't. And as always, straight to the point, no fluff. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Fernando Dedios, and I'm the founder of NextRocket, a software development studio where, together with my team, we help business owners create digital products super fast using low-code tools. So, if you have a project in mind and need to know which technologies to use, how much it might cost, and how long it would take, you can fill out the estimate form and schedule a call with me. Before we get started, let's talk about what Supabase is. Supabase is a backend as a service. It's kind of like Firebase, and in fact, they promote themselves as the open source alternative to Firebase. Supabase is built on PostgreSQL, so we're talking about a relational database. If you're used to this type of database and working with SQL, Supabase will feel very intuitive to you. Supabase offers you a ton of features like user authentication, file storage, databases, among several other things, and more. But the important thing is that it manages all of this for you, so you don't have to worry about the backend. Plus, it gives you an interface so you can manage your entire database intuitively. You'll be able to see all your tables, add new data, edit records, and do many other things, all without having to write SQL. But if you want to, you can still do it. And to connect your front end, Supabase automatically creates an API, so you can access all your data from any application. In short, Supabase is useful for web applications, mobile apps, SaaS, and pretty much any kind of development you can think of. So, now that we know what Supabase is, let's talk about its advantages and disadvantages, and when you should use it and when you shouldn't. The first advantage of Supabase, and I think it's the most important one, is development speed. When you develop with Supabase, everything is much simpler and much faster. And that's really important when deciding which technology to use. Unlike a custom-built backend, you can get Supabase up and running in just a few minutes. You don't have to worry about infrastructure or creating a database from scratch. You don't have to worry about servers or anything like that. Everything comes ready to go with Supabase. And that also means you'll spend fewer resources. For example, if you're going to hire a developer, it'll take them fewer hours to build a backend with Supabase than to make a custom one. Plus, the ongoing maintenance of your backend will pretty much disappear because Supabase will take care of all that for you. The second big advantage of Supabase is that it already comes with the most important features any application needs. So it's going to work for almost any project you can think of. For example, Supabase already includes the entire user authentication system, like registration, login, logout, session management, password recovery, generating unique IDs, among several other things, and more. So you won't have to build that functionality from scratch. Along with that, it also has row-level security functionality. This lets you define permissions and see who can view or modify the data in your database. Supabase is a fully featured relational database. It has file storage, automatically generated APIs, edge functions, real-time database capabilities, and many other features. More features that will let you create robust MVPs without getting bogged down with the backend. If you want me to make a video explaining all the features of Supabase, like a tutorial, let me know in the comments, and we'll get to work on that. I think another advantage Supabase has is the experience you'll have while developing. I put a lot of importance on the UX and UI of the platforms I use, and I feel like Supabase really nails that. The platform is intuitive, organized, easy to use, visually appealing, and honestly, working with this tool is very comfortable. And for me, that's a big check mark. Plus, as part of the experience, let's also talk about the documentation. I feel like with Supabase, it's very clear and quite extensive, for most cases. And this is a really important point, even though a lot of people don't pay much attention to it. And finally, I think as part of the experience, it's also important to note that it's very friendly when it comes to integrating it with front-end frameworks. Whether you use Flutter, Kotlin, React, Next.js, it's going to be very easy to do with Supabase. So from the developer experience side, if you want to call it that, I think Supabase scores another point. And to wrap up this section, the last advantage of Supabase, the price. Supabase has two plans that are really the ones you'll actually use. Both plans are more than enough for any MVP you want to launch. The free plan is super generous. As you can see on the screen, with the free plan, you have more than enough for your entire development phase. Even up to 50,000 active users per month. For most projects that are just getting started, this is more than enough. And when you're ready for production, you can switch to the Pro plan, which will cost you $25 a month. At least that's how much it will cost in Latin America. With this plan, you can run a small or medium-sized app without any issues. And if at any point you need to scale further, you can increase your resources and only pay for what you use. So these are the advantages of using Supabase. But here, I want to pause and ask you if you're finding value in this content. Because if you are finding value, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and give our videos a like. And if you have any questions or doubts, leave us a comment because we'll answer you. And if you want, you can also share this video with a friend who you think might find it helpful. You'll be helping us continue to grow. Let's continue with the video. One of the main disadvantages of Supabase is that you don't have real control over your backend infrastructure because everything comes pre-configured on the platform. This isn't a real problem for MVPs or small products, but when your platform starts to grow, that's when you'll run into limitations that won't let you keep scaling. For example, you won't be able to decide what resources your backend will use, nor will you be able to scale it in a granular way. And if you wanted to distribute the load using a more sophisticated architecture, like microservices for example, you won't be able to do that either. A concrete example where this is a disadvantage is in an application where latency and speed are critical. For example, if you want to build a streaming application, you'll need to control a lot of infrastructure variables to optimize performance. And with Supabase, you won't be able to do that because you won't have access to that level of configuration. Supabase Edge functions are serverless functions that run on the server closest to the user. And they're used for backend tasks that would be too slow or insecure if run on the client side. Like, for example, creating endpoints, webhooks, integrations with external services, among other things. Up to that point, everything's great. They're super fast and super useful for basic logic that any kind of application needs. But Edge functions aren't ready for complex logic. If you want to do heavy processing, intensive calculations, or long-running tasks with Supabase, you simply won't be able to. You also won't be able to run native dependencies. For example, it's not 100% compatible with Node. And that's going to limit you a lot as your project grows because it'll force you to look for a backend that's more robust than Supabase. In summary, Edge functions are for tasks that are simple and fast, but they become very limited when complexity increases and you need a larger, more robust architecture. Another major disadvantage of Supabase is that it's not designed to handle a massive volume of users with recurring interactions. And problems will start when you have thousands of active users at the same time, performing many operations per second. And when an application grows like that, you're really going to need to optimize your backend. For example, you'll have to optimize queries or maybe complex logic. You'll split them into microservices, or you'll need to distribute the load among several other options you have. And that's where the problem lies. Supabase doesn't let you make these kinds of configurations because in this case, you don't have control over the infrastructure. Imagine a real-time trading app, a messaging app, or a streaming application. You won't be able to build any of these with Supabase because it'll fall way short. So to sum up, when should you use Supabase and when shouldn't you? If you want to launch a quick and solid MVP, Supabase will work perfectly for you. It'll also work for small and medium-sized products that don't have complex logic or need infrastructure optimization. That's really important. On the other hand, if you're looking to build a large product with complex backend logic or heavy server-side logic with very low latency or where performance is absolutely critical, I recommend you build your own backend. Because in these kinds of projects, you're going to need much more control and a lot more detail. That's something Supabase simply can't give you. If you like this content, subscribe to our channel, give our videos a like, or leave us a comment. You can also leave a question in the comment box because we'll answer all of them. And if you want, you can share it with a friend who you think might find these topics interesting. My name is Fernando Dedios, and I'll see you in the next episode.